Hello. It is Thursday, April 15th, 2021. This is the Yormish Cycle Full Body Workout. Cycle 7, Chapter 1, Iteration 4. Iteration seems like a fun word in some ways. All right, first the public service announcement. All right. Yeah, let's get that really good in frame. Let's see if I can do diagonal there with the shadows and stuff. Oh, that's kind of nice. All right. Please do not waste your time watching this video unless you have a very specific reason to watch this video. Let's see if I can. Do not waste your time watching this video. There is no video there, but anyway, unless you have a very specific reason to watch this video. Okay, and there's no please on there. I'm just impolite in some of my writings. So please, I would hate for you to waste your time, and this is probably going to be a waste of your time. All right, so I knew I forgot to do something. I'm going to turn on that. Well, I'm not going to turn on that light right now. Got myself jetted up for this, stretched out a little bit beforehand, but I'm still going to do those 7 quality stretches, 7 quality exercises that my dad likes. Good stuff that he taught me. He learned it from a video a long time ago, and it's stuck with him ever since. And the video was from an elderly woman coping with her back problems. So it's really a remarkable story, but I won't get into that. What I will get into is just the random things that are going on here. So far, this has been good. There's been times when I've been doing this, and I'm thinking for Adventure Week, I might try to do a couple interesting challenges. One of the challenges, because Adventure Week is, 3 more of these workouts away. So as soon as I hit 7 workouts, 7 full bodies, then I go into Adventure Week, and that is whatever I want. So what I'm thinking is a fun challenge is do this workout, go for a walk, that nice little 3-mile walk, and then come back and then film a video of a challenge and see if I can do that all in one day. And the challenges might seem very vanilla to other people, but it's a challenge for me. For example, I don't think I've ever done within the last 3 or 4 years 100 just air squats, nothing but my own weight, normal squats, no weight, in a session. So it might just be like, how many sets does it take to get me to 100 squats? Really kind of finding my edges, because I have no idea. There's part of me that's like maybe ego driven, like, oh, I've invested so much time in this, it should be easy. Then there's another part of me that says, remember how many times you've said that to yourself, it should be easy, and it wasn't. So it'll be a cute thing, and I'm certainly looking forward to Humble Pie if it's there. I'm looking forward to the education. I'd rather know my edges and know my weaknesses than be surprised by them in the wrong time. So nice to know. And I'm not comparing myself to anybody else in the world, because I think one of the best things I live by, one of the best tools, is something I heard, which I can't remember who said it, but I've probably heard it from multiple sources, is comparison is the thief of joy. And that really rings true to me. For example, working out with a buddy years ago, it would have been like, or running with a buddy or whatever, doing some sort of comparison thing. If I did better, then I would slack off. If I did worse, if I was truly connected, and I never really was a hugely competitive spirit anyway, so, good or bad things come with that. Or both good and bad things come from that. But like, what's the best way towards strength training or endurance training or any sort of training, it seems? Well, one of those better approaches, I'm not going to say the best way, but one of the better approaches is living by non-comparison. Not even comparing myself to my past. I think I've been caught up in the trap where I'm like, oh, I used to be able to do this, and now I can't. Now I'm comparing myself to my past, and I feel bad about it. So feeling bad has its uses, but I would rather feel progressive. I would rather feel like, okay, this is an edge, and you know what? The idea that I can go beyond this edge is probably one of my greatest assets. Really believing, hey, if I work the system works. And that's how I'm doing this. Little workouts like this every day. Not doing high reps, not doing high weight. And I'm feeling something really good going on with me. Better than I did that last cycle I went through of those 22 days of just stomach exercises. Plus, the last couple days, but honestly, the last 3 days, every single meal I've been eating fake chicken and vegetables. And that was the majority of my meals. 2 of those meals, there was chocolate milk involved. One of those meals, there was a green drink that I like so much. So yeah, and also, strangely enough, with that Heart 75, like the stuff I don't even think about, I don't even need to put in reading because I read every single day, but I just have to make sure that I'm reading something nonfiction, which has been happening, because there's a lot of times I just dive into fiction, but but yeah, the Heart 75 is pretty interesting. Like the stuff I don't even put on the list of that Heart 75 thing is the cold shower thing, because that automatically happens. Sometimes multiple times a day. My sense of smell is probably compromised, so I'm like, oh, I better shower multiple times a day. So yeah, everybody has their peccadillos and insecurities and all that kind of stuff, and I really hate when my scent is probably bothering someone. So, and I'm sure it happens. I've had deodorants fail on me before. It's like my body acclimates to them or something, and then I have to switch deodorants, and then I'll switch back. It's a war zone in there. I don't know. No, not really. High quality problems. And the good news is my real friends tell me, like, wow, you definitely smell like an animal. You smell a little bit like a horse that's been ridden too hard. You know. And good friends have said that, and also bad friends that have said that, and done it in a case where, like, oh yeah, you're about to go up on stage and like do comedy or something. I'm gonna throw this right before you get on stage. You know, you really stink right now, man. It's just like the smell. Just don't get too close to the audience. And it's like, wow, was this dude trying to sabotage me? Cool. That's a fun challenge. But I think it was. I'm gonna just make the poor assumption in my subjective reality that it was friendship. It was true friendship. And sometimes the truest friends are the ones that push us to be a little bit beyond ourselves. Like the very true friend that I had a bet with, and part of this is the result of that bet. So, but I won't go into that too much because I've already went into more embarrassing things, but yeah, I'm not going to make this last too long. So this is just me talking, prepping myself up for the talking afterwards. Talking is the sandwich between the workout and whatnot's going on. Okay, so one thing specific to this workout, going to be trying to do a little bit more focus on the quality of the repetitions. Sometimes I'll focus between quality of repetitions and also that mind-body connection, really seeing if I can envision and feel as much feelings as the muscles are giving out. Another thing I'm going to focus on is sometimes closing my eyes. Sometimes I'm going to be doing, let's say there's 4 repetitions. The first repetition I might be breathing out. The second repetition, for the whole repetition, both the eccentric and concentric portion, I think that's how it's labeled and named. Anyway, for both the pushing and the pulling or whatever, the both parts of the portion, I will be kind of holding my breath, holding empty. So exhale a repetition, hold empty a repetition, inhale a repetition, hold empty a repetition. And I'll do that sometimes. I found out like my body wanted to do that naturally yesterday, or maybe not so naturally, because right before I did that on the calf raises, I did that with kind of a stepping breathing exercise that I did, to break up the sets of the calf raises. Speaking of breaking up sets, this first thing I'm going to try to do, normally the way this workout was written, I would do a set of pull-ups, and then I would go to the bench, and I would do incline bench a set, and then I would go back to pull-ups, and, back and forth, and the back and forth would be transition time. I'm not liking transition time. Transition time breaks the flow a little bit. Sometimes I could use a break. Sometimes I'd rather not have the break. So what I'm going to try, this one, just with the first 2 exercises, the pull-up and the incline bench. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 3 sets of 2 on the pull-ups, but what I'm going to do with it is in between the sets, I'm going to try to do them in sequence. and I'm not going to touch the ground. I'm going to just try to hang there. So develop a little bit of hang time, a couple seconds hanging, and then, you know, do 2 more, and then hanging and do 2 more. So we'll see how that goes. It might be a bad idea. It might be a great idea. I don't know. That's half the fun, finding out where your edges are and all that kind of stuff, because sometimes it's disappointing, but I'd rather know than not know. So do I think I can do it? You know what? It doesn't matter what I think. Reality will let me know. Objective reality will let me know. Yeah, there's a little bit of subjective in there. Like, you know, I'm sure that there's a hidden reserve, and I'm not sure, but I would like to believe that there's a hidden reserve that can push me to do greater things. But objectively, maybe there's not. So who knows? The power of the mind is something that we've don't know all the aspects to. All right, leave it with a general blanket statement like that. Wow, I'm sweating already. Almost want to turn up the AC a little bit. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Gotta be careful with the AC though. Another great thing is not having the AC on so much has forced me to do more cold showers, which is a bonus because, you know, Florida. All right. Oh, first do the stretches and then do my friend the bar. And Now for a little chat, or a fun thing to say sometimes is chin wag. Heard that word recently. I was like, wow, that's a fun word. All right. So it's probably about 7-minute intro. Yeah, that was about a little under an hour. That's okay. A little under an hour of actual working out. I'm happy with that. Now it's time to sit, maybe stretch a little bit, have a little bit of a monologue, whatever's going on in my head, notes to self and all that kind of stuff. Water. This is pretty much going to be my first 32 liters of the day. 2 more of these, 2 more of the 20 liters, and I know I've at least got a gallon because I overfill this beyond 32, and the other ones that should be 16, I overfill them way beyond or I overfill that one beyond the 16 point. This sometimes feels like a stretch, especially if I push my ribs into my legs. Maybe when the gut goes away more, the ribs will actually feel different when they're touching the top of my thighs. Whew. That's a feeling to look forward to. It's not a bad feeling. This is actually pretty comfortable right now, but goodness be, a little bit of a neck stretch. Oh. It's funny, like doing 10 blinks or thereabouts, and then trying to blink real hard. So hard that your face actually grimaces. It's kind of fun. And just blinking harder. Scratch up your whole face. And then just looking around, literally looking around. That's trippy. Whew. Colors. It's like an eye workout. If you do it enough, your eyes actually feel tired. It's kind of funny. Well, I guess that's like all muscles. There's muscles that move your eyes too, so maybe I'll do an eye workout one of these days. I used to have a video game. I think I still have it somewhere. It was for the DS. I was a huge fan of the DS. The little DS Lite thing. Wow, that thing was cool. Still is. I have it somewhere. There was a game that was all about your eyes. It was eye coordination pretty much. I can't remember what it was called, but it was pretty cool. And at the end of a workout session or whatever, a testing session, they had the eye relaxation exercises. And some of it was like a neck stretch, and then like you go around, and then it would be, see if I can remember how many of these I can remember. One was like look up without moving your neck, look down, look to the left, look to the right, you know. And each of them was like do three of them. So single sets of 3. And there was the close your eyes, blink. I don't know if there was one where you close your eyes real hard. I think that was in there. I think I got that from that. Let's see here, something else. So first, a neck stretch. All right, and then look up, down, left, right a few times, 3 times, and then it was rotate your eyes first to the left, then to the right, and then blinking exercises, 10 blinks, And congratulations, now you're done. And I even remember a little bit of the music that when you were done, that music was fun. See if I can find that somewhere. Yeah, more things to add to your regimen. If your regimen to wake up and to feel in shape and feel good takes more than 2 hours, that might be an interesting situation. It depends on how busy your day is. I want to be able to create things that make people's lives better. Like, that's such a general statement. Like, what if I could create a food that, like, it mimics a lot of the things we like about fast food, cheap, filling, but it was be nutritionally dense and calorically deficient. Well, there's already something like that on the market, vegetables. But like, how can I make it so it's like fast food? And I was thinking, like, what if there was some sort of marinade that you can put romaine lettuce into, where it doesn't crack, it gets very stable, and you can use it to use it as a wrap. And then you wrap certain things in it, and then you put spices in it. So like you're wrapping steamed broccoli in a romaine lettuce wrap, and maybe a few carrots or something. And you sell these things for like 20 cents. So it's like $1 gets you 5 of them, like 5 little egg rolls things. That would be such a cool place to eat. And then like you have little things that are like if you put protein powder with a little bit of water, you kind of make a sludge. So you make that sludge, and maybe you put that in the romaine lettuce, and maybe you put a certain spice in the romaine lettuce that makes it makes your body think like a cinnamon or something. Maybe a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon, and so you think of it as more of a treat, you know. So really playing around with the spices, and heavily peppered, and cayenne pepper for some of the other things. And the big thing would be the spices. It's all about the spice, you know. So there'd be all sorts of exotic spices with very normal vegetables, and we're treated romaine lettuce, so it's in wraps. So it's really easy, and like maybe there's a certain pressing machine, so you do the wrap and you do a press, and it seals the edges all around, so it's real nice and tight, and you could eat it in the car if you wanted to, like no mess whatsoever. Set it up so it's minimal packaging, basically just a recycled paper bag, you know, and you slip a stack of 5 in there, and set it up so it's it's like companies really don't care about the consumer in certain ways. Like they overlook the consumer experience in one key critical way: payment. They charge $1 because it's easy for them. It's easy for their accounting. Hey, but for us, right now where I'm at, I pay $1 for something. I'm paying $1.07 for it if there's tax involved. And usually there is with most things. So I'm paying $1.07. Now, wouldn't it be cool if a company cared enough? And also, it would streamline their transactions. I don't know if it would make up for the loss of money. I think it would. I estimate customer service would go up. I estimate a whole bunch of things would increase if the company charged 93 cents or 93.5 cents, whatever it is, to make it exactly, when tax is added to that item, it's $1. And their whole menu is like that. So everything is exactly $1 or $2 or $3, whatever it is. And wouldn't it be cool with that veggie place to have the scale menu? It's either $1, $2, or $3, and that's it. So if you're buying a couple items, a premium item is $3. An economy item is $1, and a normal item, an original item, or whatever you want to call it, is $2. So there's different item on that. All vegetables, all vegan friendly. So you could really give vegans a choice that's not crippling to their budget. And I know that if you cook and you're vegan, you're probably, and you have knowledge about cooking. I've met a couple people that claim, and I believe them, I've eaten some of their meals, and that it's super cheap as long as they're cooking for the week and all that kind of stuff. Like their budget just skyrockets down in a good way. So you have a fast food place like this, open 24 hours, minimal staff, have it in such a way that like there doesn't need to be a lot of items. The menu should be just a handful of things, and maybe it's a variety thing. So it's like you pick the item and you pick the spice. So it's like you get a lot of variety, but it's a simple endeavor for the clerk to put in. And I would venture a guess, if you want the quote unquote special pricing, you have the app. So let's say the app knocks it down by 50%. Seriously, like that would be something that would actually make me get an app. I'm not going to buy the McDonald's, or I'm not going to install the McDonald's app or anything. Well, first of all, I try to avoid McDonald's, but in my life I've eaten too many French fries. But the last time I did McDonald's was a couple weeks ago. So, French fries be gone and all that kind of stuff. And I'll say this now: if I can live the rest of my life without eating another French fry, I would consider that an act of will. Is it likely to happen? Absolutely not. But who knows? So far, 2 weeks without, so that's kind of cool. But anyway, and it's good. It's value. I mean, it's not expensive, but having that experience with something that is, not complex carbohydrates, that's calorically deficient and nutrient dense, without having to go to science to make it up. It's just like, hey, vegetables already do this automatically, and vegetables are not that expensive. A big bag of broccoli is $1. I mean, frozen broccoli that I eat almost all the time. Like that's great. Romaine lettuce, I don't think that's too expensive. You can probably even do the same treatment with iceberg lettuce. So like maybe you get 3 aspects. It's all about veggie wraps, and it's like pick your wrap, iceberg or romaine. Pick your ingredients. Standard would just be a mix of vegetables. You can pick all broccoli, all carrot, all peas, and all green beans, something like that, something simple. And then pick your spices. And then there might be certain exotic ones that they like, the flavor of the day type thing. But I'm making the menu more complex, but when you go through, you pay, and that the people at the checkout counter don't have to mess around with change at all. They have spots in their drawer for change in case somebody pays with 10 dimes or 100 pennies. They got it covered. They're like, okay, cool, but realistically, they don't have to mess around with change at all. And the minimum order on it is like 5. So it's like, yeah, can I get one for 20 cents? No, we sell them in lots of 5, just because of the bag and all that kind of stuff. And that encourages people to share. If they're not really hungry but want something with a little bit of spice on it, it encourages a little bit of sharingness. So there's all sorts of possible good things from that. But wouldn't it be cool to be able to have all those simplified things and make it mostly automated? And then maybe, if you're ordering through the app, hey, it's 50% off every single time, not a trial period for the rest of your life. You have the app, you order through the app has some sort of verification process, that's you, easy payment process, boom, $1, whatever, there. And these things can be automatically made. You go through the checkout, a little slide thing gets to you, you pick it up, you're gone. If you're paying cash, there might be a cash slot to put in. Wouldn't it be cool to order the app, but you have that choice? Would you like to pay through the app or pay with cash? Giving, I think, too many choices is stifling, but I think a choice like that would be like, we care about our consumers, and we care that some people have cash on them and don't want this to show up on their credit card bill or whatever, or their bank statement. They want to minimize the things they have to look at in their bank statement. So this transaction doesn't need to be on it, just because they want to pay attention to the more important transactions. So if you're eating that 3 times a day, let's say, you don't want that to constantly show up, and you have to weed through all that to see how much you're paying for electricity, car payment, lease, all that kind of stuff. You're just going right to like, okay, my car insurance is this, my phone bill's that, all these things are here. I got that. I don't need to wade through, 10, 20, 80 visits to the veganese place. And I like the idea of veganese, just because it seems like a fun word, and I don't know if that word's ever been used before. It probably has. I'm probably not the first person to think of it, but like, veganese drive-through, and make it mostly drive-through. But if you order in, it would be a different process, but still the same automated process, almost like a bank, with the that kind of drive-through thing would be kind of cool. Be weird, but it would be kind of cool, like sealed in the bag, and the things are sealed within. You just grab it and you're good. Nope. Thank you, trusty rusty timer. So yeah, that's one of the fun ideas I was thinking of. Note to self: this is the most I've actually talked about this idea. But yeah, and like you get the macronutrients on it. There might be something specifically like if you're 40-30-30 and you want your 40% to be in fat, you want your 40% of your calories to be in protein, you want your 40% calories to be from carbohydrates, non-complex carbohydrates, which would make the wrap substantially bigger, but okay, doable. You could eat 40-30-30 any way you want. You could do it, 80-20, 80% fat, 20% keto, and maybe only those specialty items are only available in the application. If you want to go deep into it, you want to read about it, but these are not kind of things that would be really conducive to put a nice description on the menu board. The menu board is the gateway to, if you do the app, that you're at least making that commitment to that establishment of putting the app. So that establishment reciprocates that commitment by adding more options to you. So you can go through at your leisure as a customer to look through it and be like, hey, there's some new specials just for people that own the app, or new things that are on the menu that are not on the normal menu. App customers only, specialty customers only, those kind of things. I don't necessarily like the idea of rewards clubs and all that kind of stuff, but I do like the idea of if a person's investing in a company, their time, their energy, their money, then it would be really nice if the company reciprocates, which brings me to another point. And this is going to be a dumb idea. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just going to see what happens, roll the dice. I've had this idea for a long time. Ever since the PlayStation 5 came out, I was thinking, this is a no-brainer. Why don't you can buy video games directly through the PlayStation. Why can't you buy a PlayStation 5 directly through the PlayStation? Now, that there's things that you have to have in place. You have to have a PlayStation account. Okay, cool. Now, what would happen if you could buy PlayStation 5s directly? If nobody knows, the PlayStation 5 is consistently being bought up by people that are not playing it. They're hoarding it and selling them on eBay for hundreds of dollars more. So you buy a PlayStation 5 for $500, you sell it for $900. What you do is you create a bot, a program that automatically goes to certain websites that are selling PlayStation 5s and constantly, I don't know exactly how it works, but this is my guess, constantly hitting that buy button. Not available, buy, not available, buy, not available, buy, something like that. Or somehow it's set up like that. As soon as it sees one available, it buys, or whatever it is. Constantly refreshing the website because running a computer, running that program over and over again, is pennies as compared to making that $400. Set it up, walk away. I can't fault human beings for doing this, but I don't like it. There's a lot of aspects I don't like about human beings, but it's not like they're trafficking people. They're keeping video games away from people who want to play video games. Not the world's biggest tragedy, but still, because I would like a PlayStation 5, but there's no way I'm going to pay a scam artist or a scammer or a scalper or whatever you want to call them. I don't think the proper word is scam artist. I don't know how much art is really in that code, but maybe it is. But yeah, a scammer to I actually have a friend that said, "Oh, if I knew that programming, I would do it." It's like free money. Why not? I can only hope that somehow these scalpers get burned. I think one of the best ways to burn these scalpers would be for nobody to buy any more PlayStation 5s through scalpers. But hey, that's not going to happen. What is probably going to happen is, hey, someone at Sony, here's my idea. And I'll do a video. I should do a video where I'm sitting in a chair, smoking a bubble pipe. I don't have a bubble pipe, but wouldn't it be cool if I did? And a smoking jacket, and then be like, "Dear PlayStation, are you rewarding scalpers? Are you rewarding scammers? Dear PlayStation, thank you for rewarding scammers," and do it from the point of a scammer. I don't know. I think that sarcasm would be lost on a lot of people. I hope that video would not get a whole bunch of views, but I'm going to do the experiment, and I'm going to do whatever it is. But dear PlayStation, let's see if I can find I think I have an old school police hat somewhere. Oh, you know what? What's her name took that? And there was a riot baton. Oh man, that was used in it was a tiny little thing. And it was like a little tiny baseball bat. It was really cool, but I guess it was some sort of riot baton or something that was used in like the 50s or something. Probably has a checkered history at best. So that was in my possession for about 5 minutes or several years, but I think, what's her name took those items and the handcuffs and, oh yeah. Pardon me, I gotta make a phone call. No. Better, no, I'm not gonna say better days. I'm gonna say days ventured and hopefully never to be repeated again the same way, because the amount of fun I felt then would far exceed the amount of fun I would feel now. So that's the way you maximize the fun out of that situation, and I think she did too. So, all right, happy things. So anyway, so yeah, the PlayStation thing. Basically, all right, here's the rundown. Hey, dear PlayStation, you guys have been ripping off your customers vicariously through these scammers. So, hey, since you can sell video games through the PlayStation Network, why can't you sell PlayStation 5s? But I know what would happen. Hey, you're thinking everybody would make a new PSN account, and there would be hundreds and thousands of PSN accounts created just so people can get PlayStation 5s. So what do you do to mitigate that? Well, you make everybody who has a PSN account not necessarily available for PlayStation 5, but if they have PlayStation Plus, which is an extra $43 a month or something like that, $49 a month a year, if those people are the only ones eligible, then what would happen? Hey, you get a whole bunch of people making PlayStation Plus accounts, but guess what? You're Sony. So what? You're actually making $43.99 a year off of the scammers. But you're thinking, hey, our PlayStation Plus account is, I don't know if this is true or not, is free for a month, and then you choose to cancel or not. Well, you clear out that policy for a couple months until the PlayStation 5 demand has subsided. Then you institute that free month again or whatever it is. So there's all these counter solutions. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better. So yeah, that would be the gist of the video. Yeah, make a video like that. Dear Sony, why are you rewarding scammers? And it would just be from the notion, like, I don't know anybody at Sony, but I'm reasonably certain at least one person at Sony has probably had this idea of selling PlayStation 5s to PlayStation Plus members. It's not a difficult connection. And instead, what you're doing is you're rewarding scammers and scalpers. And that's not nice. And then go through the rigmarole of that situation. Like, let's examine it from this point. Let's examine it from this point of view. And I guess the worst point of view is maybe there's some sort of contracts with the retailers. The Target, the Best Buys and all that. Maybe they have a certain contract, like, oh, you can only sell to us. You can't sell to customers directly. Sony, you've screwed people before. Retail, brick and mortar places don't have nearly as much leverage as they used to. Which would you rather screw over? Your customers or brick and mortar retail? And yeah, you can still give brick and mortar retail PlayStation 5s, absolutely. But here's the thing with like the orders or whatever, I don't know the numbers, but all these things are really taking place online. So they're ordering from Best Buy online, and they're probably, Best Buy is like, well, if somebody comes in and pick up, they spend so much extra money. If somebody is just getting an order from us, online orders, then they don't get, they don't spend as much money. So it's just like the get in the door money type thing that Best Buy might be betting upon. And honestly, quite frankly, if Best Buy and Target and all the other places that are selling PlayStation 5s online and have some sort of special contract with Sony, I mean, honestly, that is set up to reward scammers, you might examine that contract as evil and talk to Sony and just be like, you know what, we're really hurting our core customers. We're really hurting customers. The people we should be rewarding, the people we should be helping out. Let's cut out of this contract in a sensible way, or reimagine this contract in a more sensible way that rewards viable customers, not scammers. Just saying. But will that ever happen? No. I mean, you know what? That is a bit cynical. I think, yeah, maybe if that idea gets around, it will be good. So, yeah, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make that video, and it is going to be just as long-winded as this kind of stuff. But I'm going to hit the main point right in the beginning, and I'm going to say, well, that's been the main point. Now, you can, if you stop watching the video at this point, good. You've received the spirit of the idea, the concept, the core concept is there. Now I'm just going to elaborate on it a little bit further for those that care to play with this idea a little bit more, and then I'll go into the whole, like, if it was a PSN accounts, what would happen, and how much, you know, money would be made extra by Sony if they did that thing directly. And yeah, it's maybe new ground for them, because the PlayStation store does not deal with physical goods. I don't know if there's ever been anything that's a physical good that you can buy over the PlayStation store. Why not? It's not creating a new paradigm here. There are other companies that have added physical goods that you can buy online. Just saying, you know, you're not really breaking new ground here. So anyway, so yeah, that's the synopsis of probably my next video. I actually want to do more videos that are not working out things that I think are useful. One is I got these little speaker things, and I have not hooked them up in stereo yet. I want to do my first time hooking them up in stereo, live on, not live, but on camera, and be like, hey, these things are so cool, or hey, they're so difficult. And I'll say, well, I'll read the instruction manual a little bit first, and then I'll tell you, well, what I was thinking was going to happen is this. Or you know what, I'll just try it, and then afterwards I'll see if reading the instructions was necessary, and I'll read the instructions and be like, okay. So, yeah, fun stuff. And I got those two speakers charging, because I really like those little speakers. They're so brilliant in the fact that the Bang X, aka the TBI Pro, or whatever they're called, maybe TBI Pro is the name of the company. I'm kind of weary about things with two names. I was kind of weary about a friend was telling me about this cryptocurrency, said XRP, back in 2020 sometime, and or 2019 maybe, I don't know, a long time ago, when he was really interested in crypto. Hopefully he still is, and I really wasn't, but you know, he said this thing XRP, and then I looked into it, and it has two names. It's Ripple and it's XRP, and it's just like, why does it have two names? Don't need two names. That's just kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being simple. It's like Bitcoin only has one name, until you met like Wrapped Bitcoin. Like, what the hell is Wrapped Bitcoin, you know? And I guess Wrapped Bitcoin just makes Bitcoin easier to exchange through other mediums. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of this crypto stuff sounds like nonsense to me. And some of it actually makes sense. Like, the two cryptos that really make sense to me are the file storage ones, because it's like decentralized cloud storage that is backed up by blockchain. Like, wow, that is awesome. Now, what I said probably sounds like some gobbledygook, but it's like, there's two of them. One is called Filecoin. That totally makes sense. Hey, Filecoin, I can store files on a network of computers. All right, so let's look at it from pretending I'm a journalist, and I'm a paranoid journalist. Maybe I have reason to be paranoid, maybe I don't, maybe I'm just paranoid. And I wrote an article, and I have all the evidence for the article in my thing, in my file on my computer. But I know that that's one place. If somebody breaks into my house and steals my computer or my apartment, whatever, my stuff's gone. So I want to back it up in offsite. So maybe I'm so paranoid, I back it up onto an SD card or whatever, some sort of physical medium, and I put that in a safe deposit box. But that's not enough. I want to have access to it very quickly. I don't have to go down to the safety banks and safety deposit boxes and open that up. So that's my golden choice. Like, that seems pretty safe. And if somebody's going to be shaking me down, I'm like, okay, here's the copy. But I also secretly have it in you know, like Amazon cloud storage. But maybe the companies or some of the information in there is harsh towards Amazon. So I think maybe that'll get destroyed or something. Maybe it paints corporate America in a hard light. I don't know, whatever it is. Or maybe I'm just paranoid. So I'm writing this article and I have all this evidence, and I don't want to put all the evidence in the article because certain things would be compromised, but I want to keep that, you know, active in case I ever get prosecuted and be like, oh, that's a specious thing. Well, no, here, watch the videos, or, you know, look at these documents, you know, all this kind of stuff. Anyhow, so I back it up on the Amazon cloud, and then maybe I do it on iCloud, and maybe I do it on Dropbox, and maybe I do another one on, I think there's another one called Box. So I have all these cloud storage things, but they all are like possibly single places, possibly multiple places, but they're not as big as a blockchain network. And as far as I know, the way blockchain works is like everything in the network is somehow in agreement. What is called, I guess, a ledger. And the ledger means, oh, okay, we have these files, and that computer has these files, and all this, and like all that massive amount of information is shared between all these computers and organized in such a way that it's easily shared. And all of the computers are in agreement. So, short version of the story is my evidence in my article that I want to save could be anywhere in the world, on anybody's computer in the world that's running, that's part of this chain, part of this network, part of this blockchain, that's always in agreement with each other. So I have a sneaking suspicion it might be safe. But let's say I'm ever more paranoid. I'm not going to do that on just one blockchain network. If I'm doing it on one, I'm going to do it on another one too, because this is my livelihood. This is something really important to me. And I think for a lot of paranoid people, that would just be a relief to have multiple sources for in the blockchain of their file. And if someone's shaking them down, you know, how deep is somebody going to go? I remember reading some book or something about somebody having hidden weapons, and the guy always had like 4 or 5, and like usually they stop after the third one. Or no, it was listening devices, and I think it was a TV show. I think it was like Sherlock or something. Like, you know, people always seem to stop at 3, and they never really think I have a 4th listening device on me, or something like that. You know, something silly like that. The guy had multiple listening devices, and when this other dude, you know, gave a confession. So it's just, I think it's kind of like that. You're getting shaken down. Oh yeah, I put it in the Amazon thing. Oh, and I also put it on this blockchain, you know, file storage thing. Anyway, the 2 file storage things. One, it just came out, I think recently, or maybe it just came out on Coinbase or something like that. Anyway, that one's called Storj, which is just a great name because it's not Storage, like STORAGE. It's STORJ, Storj. You know, and that is just a fun way. That's a creative way of writing something and saying something. So it's just like, am I a stupid enough monkey to be like, oh, that's funny, I'll invest in that? If I had more money to invest, yes, I am that dumb of a monkey. I got to play it pretty close to the chest. So yeah, not so much investing money here, but those are 2 blockchains I really believe in. Like, wow, are these a good thing? So fun stuff to talk about. Like, those are the ones I think are really going to take off because they just make the most sense to me. And it's just like, oh, this is a network on top of a network that helps 2 networks integrate together, but we don't know if the second network's going to take off or not. And it's just like, okay, huh? Yeah, unless I'm deeply invested in those networks, I'm not going to buy the coin that connects those 2 networks or 5 networks or whatever things. And some of it just seems like bordering on gambling. But the main difference is when you gamble, there's a beginning and end. It's very definitive. When you gamble on stocks or you know, cryptocurrency, it's just kind of like you get to say where the end is for the most part. You're just like, oh, it went down $20. I'll just leave it in there. Maybe it'll go up $20. You know, so there is that added element of freedom in there, but it's patience. And I am a huge believer in just fire and forget. You know, like those missiles that are, you know, lock on and you can get out of there. Well, hey, cool. You know, that's a horrible example of taking human life and destroying things, but the concept is great as far as investing goes. Hey, I think this company makes sense. And preferably you have a financial advisor that'll keep an eye on that and be like, when something goofy is going on, that with the financial advisor will tap you on the shoulder and or give you a call and be like, hey, I don't think this is going to perform the way we want. Why don't we fire and forget on something else? In other words, lazy investing strategies. Long-term laziness, I guess, is probably the best way to, or not the best way to put that, but an interesting way to put that. I have a friend that does short-term stuff, and he just amazes me. I don't know his exact numbers, and he's obviously a bit cagey about how much he has invested here and there and all that kind of stuff, which is totally understandable. I think if I knew how much money he was making, he'd be afraid of me, like, hey, cuz, could you help me out? I've never asked him for money, by the way, and hopefully I never will. Hopefully I'll never be in that position. And as far as people who have, I don't think there's anything of value I can add to his life that was worth something monetary to him. So yeah, he's not on the short list of, hey, there's some skills I have that can help you out in X, Y, Z endeavors. If there was some skills I have that could help him out with X, Y, Z endeavors, like, hey, yeah, I can reorganize all those spreadsheets you were talking about and do this and all this, you know. But no, he as far as I know, doesn't need me for anything. Which is, hey, he's a very independent guy. And as far as I know, doesn't like delegation. There's people out there, though, it's amazing what they delegate. And it's just like, really? You want me to do this? Okay. If I was smart, I would ask for payment for those things. But I'm just amazed when someone asks me to do something that seems so simple. But for them, it's just like, listen, I can give you an education on how to crop this photo. Like, we can go through and crop 100 of these photos in like an afternoon, or you can just send me all the files and I'll do it for you, and you'll buy me dinner, whatever. It'll take me a few minutes, and actually I've never cropped 100 photos in a few minutes. You know, hey, crop my boyfriend out of all these photos. Easy. All right, not a problem. Like, why are you asking me to do this? You know, you play around with more photo apps than I ever will. Why? By the way, I still don't get what is it? Oh, the one that I keep telling a couple people tell me to, dude, make an Instagram. Yeah, the Instagram thing. And I got a horrible joke about that, but I won't go into that right now. Oh yes, I will. All right, I'm not involved in drugs. This is not based upon an actual encounter. This is just a joke. I'm mad at corporate America. Corporate America has screwed the common man for too long. I had a friend. He was a well-respected member of the community of drug dealers in this area. And he was the hard-working, ethical human being until Instagram stole his name. And yeah, there's a bit of a leap. I probably should have peppered the information in the beginning, cocaine dealers in the air, because cocaine deals in grams and Instagram, you get it. And maybe I should have said something, one of the fastest, most reliable, hardworking cocaine dealers out there until Instagram stole his name. There's probably a whole bunch of ways to like drop little hints on where I'm going with the punchline if the punchline doesn't hit. I made that joke well before 2018 and told it once on stage and got no good response. I think I've told that joke a couple times on open mic stages. And if you know anything about me, I enjoy the idea of comedy. Do I think I'm very good at it? No. But I certainly love it in certain ways. I also realized last night, I was walking around thinking about jokes and stuff. I like the idea of crafting jokes. I don't like the idea of waiting an hour to tell 5 minutes worth of jokes. And also I realized that at my level of joke telling ability, at my level of dealing with audiences and understanding the audiences and the give and take, I think I've progressed a little bit. But at the same time, I think there's a world before I get to something that I would classify as good. And the amount of work I'd have to put to get there, it's achievable. I would just have to be on stage 3 to 4 times a week. And that would mean sitting in places for an hour or 2 hours at a time or whatever, and the drive time to get back and forth in there. And it's just like, is that worth that investment? Especially because the idea of being, I'm saying this on camera, the irony here, being known by too many people kind of scares me. Like, I want to be rich. I don't want to be famous. Yeah. And I can understand a lot of people want to be famous. Like, the best thing from what I understand, one of the easiest aphrodisiacs in the world is eyeballs. If you're a guy and you want women to like you, eyeball power. And what do I mean by eyeball power? It kind of sounds gross, doesn't it? It's not a gross thing. It's being known. If you're on TV as a meteorologist, and you're on TV every single night, you already have a little bit of that connection just because people have seen you with their eyeballs, or they've heard you and they have that connection. They already have a little bit of bizarre one-sided rapport, and you have that rapport at scale. So 90% of the work is already done. With another human being, a big part of it is building rapport. So, like, you know, eyeball power is just skipping a whole bunch of that hard work. For me, dealing with the idea of women being attracted to me, they got to deal with all this first, and they got to build rapport with all that. And there are so many hurdles for them to get through to actually consider me like, oh, that guy's a candidate for attraction. That it's just like, well, let's just put it this way: it's harder than doing comedy. And back to the whole idea of putting so much work into something that the return on the investment's so minimal. Not to say that wonderful relationships, and I've had wonderful, beautiful relationships in my time, and I've had horrible relationships in my time. And I don't want to say I've had my fair share, because who knows if I had or not. And that's just a weird conventional standard. What is a fair share? Doesn't matter. I think everybody's a little bit differently. And if you start thinking like keeping up with the Joneses or whatever, that kind of stuff, like, I'm not normal because I didn't have 2.5 glasses of water this morning, whatever it is. Like, there are standards that make sense, and there are standards that hurt you. Sociological standards for, like, I saw a friend talking about, you know, how many dates he's had in the last month, and you know, I need to have at least 3 and that's perfectly cool if you're not comparing it to some arbitrary sociological standard. And it seemed like he had a very arbitrary sociological standard that was not evidence-based. If it was based upon his own evidence, it's like, oh, well, if I go through 42 dates, within those 42 dates, I have, you know, 7 possible, mutual attractions, and then from 7 possible mutual attractions, I have 3 that make sense to winning on my life, and out of those 3, it's really nice to be able to choose amongst those 3 which one I can serve the best and which one can serve me the best, which one is the best mutual arrangement. And to go on those 42 dates, I want to do the 42 in 6 months. Or whatever. I want to do the 42 in a year, let's say, whatever it is. We'll go with 6 months. So that means, 7 dates a month. And to really maximize those 7 days a month, there's going to be a fudge factor. I get at least 2 flakes every month. A flake meaning someone just doesn't show up or cancels at the last minute. Goodness knows I've dealt with that before. I'm so sorry, it's not you, it's me, I can't meet you. It's like, I don't want to be angry with you. Matter of fact, I won't be angry with you. Okay, understood. Just understood. But yeah, it's always done through text too. It's never actually like, but I can't, I've met so many people in my life that are allergic to conflict or potential conflict. And the good news is when somebody says something I don't want to hear, I don't have that knee-jerk reaction like, "Arr!" You know, I'm just like, okay, these are words I don't want to hear. I know that when human beings hear things they don't want to hear, they immediately want to react back. But the thing that would serve the other person best and serve me best is just to open my ears as much as possible and listen as deeply as possible. And then have that wonderful tactic of being able to paraphrase their point of view in a way where they're agreeing with their own point of view. So you really use those tools. And so when I get a flake that is one I can communicate back and forth with, I don't always do this, but I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to do that, to practice those tools. Anyway, so with that make a date situation, the dude's like, oh, 9 a month, that means, I got 1 week where I can't do anything for once a month, and that means I have to do 3 all the other 3 weeks of the month. And like, okay, that is evidence-based numbers based upon firsthand knowledge of that person's own life to get a relationship within 6 months. But just saying the average guy, no. As far as that goes, like, it is so asymmetric, it is scary. It's like wealth. Wealth is not a bell curve, and I think dating is not a bell curve. But that's all I'll say about that. Was it normalized distribution or something like that? But I could be wrong. But yeah, everything I've seen evidence-wise, especially first-hand evidence, it is not a bell curve. And this is not like a woe is me type thing. This is just the reality of existence, paying attention to the objective reality. Hey, we won't go into that, but it's just like, I don't know. I think no, I won't say that. No, oh God, I won't say that. I will think certain people in life can really stand a better life, can develop a better life if they go through 1,000 rejections of intimacy. And it's a weird thing biologically. I seem to be one of those guys that, like, to truly feel intimacy, there has to be physicality. Like, otherwise I just don't feel it. If there's no physicality into it, I don't register this female as like, oh, she doesn't actually care about me, until physicality is initiated. It's a weird thing. Do I want to change that? Sometimes I do. Do I like it when I get that wonderful rush? Oh, absolutely. Especially if it's not coercive at all. Especially if there's not some sort of exchange of value, other than just like me being me. The most beautiful thing is a woman that loves you for yourself, when you're not pretending to be a billionaire or something like that, when you're not, when she's not chemically altered, AKA just drunk and like, oh, you're going to be a regret tomorrow, that kind of thing. Like, that's just, in my experience, and limited at that, those issues, it's a very disappearing sense of happiness. And that was many, many years ago, like, dealing with that kind of stuff. Now I hopefully, I could certainly see myself in those situations where I'm just desperate enough, like, oh, well, but no. And then there's another aspect too. It's just like, I'm never impaired, so, I don't even have an excuse for making a bad decision. So, I mean, maybe emotionally impaired at sometimes. And fortunately, every single time one of those opportunities have happened, I've always been emotionally, just happens to be that moment, I'm emotionally resilient enough. I'm just like, yeah, you're going to think this is a bad idea. So, tell you what, let's write a rain check on this. If you even remember this moment, please remember this moment, and let's reenact it when you're 100% sober. That would make me super happy, How about a cup of tea? Would you like a cuppa? But at the same time, I am scared of myself if I'm in a desperate place, like, because desperate people do bad things, and it's just like, hopefully I'm never in that desperate place. But years ago, yeah, I have been. There's been moments where it's just like, oh my God, I'm so lonely. Why am I talking about this on my camera? Oh my God. That's a whole seedy underbelly of vulnerability. That's just like, ugh, gross. And hopefully I'll never feel that gross ever again. So yeah, allergic to those feelings. Like, if you have those feelings, and I don't have those feelings right now, but I'm even thinking about them, here's a quick tip. Do a whole bunch of push-ups until you don't have those feelings anymore. So let's pretend, I'm going to try to actually dive into that feeling. Oh my gosh, nobody loves me, blah, 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 why? Which is stupid and silly things to even say or utter, but I'm getting myself to that place. And I'm thinking, oh my God, all those missed opportunities, all these wonderful things I should have said, could have done, da, 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 da. How did I screw up all these situations? You know what? Push-ups. You're feeling bad? Well, let's pretend I'm feeling bad, and I can kind of almost put myself in that mental state. All these rejections, blah, 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 woe is me. All right, all that garbage. But I'm not going to call it garbage. I'm going to call it my character. And I'm going to have excuses for it. And I'm going to argue for them. and I'm gonna say this is valid because so and so. Really? Are you really feeling bad? Does it hurt? Is it all that? Still hurts, right? Oh, you're crying, it hurts. Really? Keep doing more push-ups. Which is gonna hurt more? Come on, man. Can't hurt that much. Woe is me, nobody loves me, blah, blah, blah. I keep doing them. You wanna stop? You wanna keep feeling those feelings? Keep doing push-ups. That wasn't very many push-ups, but it doesn't take that many to squirrel that feeling out of my system. But I really wasn't genuinely feeling those feelings at that moment. But I certainly tuned into times in the past where I was, and I would actually try to argue with friends that don't understand. They can never understand. I must be cursed. You're right, they won't ever understand, and that's acceptable. There are certain people in life. I tried arguing that a long time ago with a really, really good-looking guy that, honestly, when Tinder came out, well, maybe it wasn't when it came out, when I first heard about somebody that was actually doing Tinder, he was getting a date once a week, and he could have had multiple dates, but he worked really hard 5 days a week, and it was always one date every weekend, and sometimes it was like the whole weekend for him. Good-looking guy, let's just say. And I was so envious of that. And he just told me ideas that, like, I tried, and my Tinder account is probably evidence of just vacillations in trying. Wide vacillations, trying this idea, trying this idea. His idea that worked for him, anything would have worked for him, was a very minimalist profile. And the way he looked at it is the less information I give them, the more information they can fill in their own head. And since they're looking for somebody, they're going to fill in information they want. Here's the caveat to that he didn't understand. He was already attractive. So he's already in that he's already in that positive mental space when a lot of women are looking at him. Now, is he attractive to everybody? No. Is he attractive to the majority? Yes. Clean shaven, classic jaw, well built, well structured, looked good in a suit. I've worn a suit maybe 4 or 5 times in my life. Sometimes I liked how it felt. At the time, it was kind of interesting. It was just like, oh, I'm going to get an MBA. Oh, hey, I got an MBA, yay. I'm going to get a job interview. Hey, I got a job interview. That kind of thing. And the suit felt good then. Till I started stacking up the rejections. And it was just like, I like the idea of growing my beard out. Well, it's not gonna change the rejection ratio. 100% rejection rate is still 100% rejection rate. So, hey, I'd rather be comfortable in my own skin. Anyway, so where's this all going? Yeah, the idea of convincing him that if they have a negative vibe towards you and you have a minimalist amount of information, like I was getting less quote unquote interactions, text of hello and all that kind of stuff, with a minimalist profile than I was with saying something almost inflammatory. And the closest thing I ever got to inflammatory is like, well, if you're blonde, I'd prefer if you dye your hair red. That was as far as I went towards antagonizing. And that was just me just trying to find something antagonizing that fit with my personality. Because I've met women who were blonde and they dyed their hair red, and it was like, oh my God. And it's so superficial. Like, what? Why does this trigger me in this way? Why is this a genetic thing? But yeah, the whole, and it was just like the attractiveness meter was like already here, and just like, whoa, went over the deep end to the point where I was just like, I'm doing stupid things. But yeah, guys doing stupid things for women, what? Does that happen? Anyway, so yeah, I was in the realm of stupid. Not the stupidest. But certainly beyond, when I look back on it, it's just embarrassing, the kind of things that you do as a human being. But I think a lot of people have that, so at least I'm not alone. But even if I was, hey, I own it. Though I'm not going to talk about it here because just gonna leave that stuff buried. Nothing illegal, nothing immoral at the time. Although my morals now have gone a bit stricter, and even though I realize that push-pull minimal antagonism is a way to gain interest from the opposite sex, that's just not a tool in my toolbox, because it doesn't feel absolute genuine. I don't like the idea of unknown manipulations. Now, known manipulations, just like, hey, I'm going to try something, and here's what I'm going to try, here's what I think the goals are being. You're scared of spiders, so if we do this, this, and this, you'll be marginally less scared of spiders. Do you want to do that? That's the kind of manipulations I like. Just like, hey, we can do this. You know, hey, you're scared of heights. Da 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 da. You're scared of driving over bridges. We can do these things to, if you want to not be scared of bridges anymore, we can do this. Do you want to enjoy this endeavor? You know, that kind of thing. And I love those manipulations because I want people to use those manipulations on me. I use them on myself. This is one of those manipulations it's turned into. This is me getting better with speaking and putting my ideas forward and practice towards that. Yeah, and I think we've peeked way too far behind the curtain on my mechanisms, my understandings. And that is embarrassing, but also getting comfortable with a little bit of embarrassment. So, oh. I think we're all horrified at certain embarrassing tales. I remember there was a friend I had in school. Never was really a good friend, never was really a bad friend, just kind of a guy I knew. I always thought good of him. And I remember on a school trip, and I went to a school that went through 3rd grade through 12th grade. I didn't stay there all those years, and I wasn't there in 3rd grade. I think it was 5th to 11th or something like that. But in 8th grade, that dude, and it wasn't a big crowd. It wasn't 2,000 people. I think it was a few hundred, if that. That dude shit in his pants or something like that. I don't know what happened. I just knew after that trip in 8th grade, everybody's just started calling him something like Fudge Pants, or it's stupid. I don't remember even the name. I do remember why are they calling this kid this? Oh, you didn't. And I was an asshole kid, so I laughed at it too. Oh, you know, and it's something that could have happened to anybody. I've had bad meals, and fortunately, had I not been 5 steps away from a toilet, guaranteed, it would have been a total brownout, guaranteed. Anyway, so hopefully, I remember the embarrassing, and just it realized me a year later they're still calling him that. A year after that they're still calling that. I think they kept on calling him that till graduation, Fudge Boy or Keebler Elf, or I don't know, Fudgy or something like that. It was one of those words, and I don't know if he was strong enough to own it or ignore it. I don't remember him reacting too bad to it. He was just kind of whatever, which it takes an enormous amount of strength. And I don't realize the emotional resilience on that guy when everybody around you, even if they're all nitpicking at you just a little bit, everybody doing it. Yeah. I don't remember his legal name or the name he used for school, and I don't remember the nickname. But I remember there was a certain point in my life where I made a point to call him not by the stupid nickname, and I hope that was appreciated by him, because I think there was a recognition of emotional reserve, and I was horrified by that. If that happened to me and that thing would be following me around for years, I'd just be like, man, the world is unforgiving. This sucks. People are dicks, and the people that call him that, hey, I never called them out on it. Well, not aggressively. I think it's yeah, that was 3 years ago. We can drop it. Yeah, that was 3 years ago, man. Let's go with current times. But I could have really sold it. I could have been well, how would you feel if you did something horrible 3 years ago and everybody was still harping on about that, your life hasn't done anything better or changed or anything like that, you haven't progressed as a human being? These are the years that we progress, we refine ourselves, and sticking somebody in a mental box like that is just, well, it doesn't really make you the human being that you want to be. That's all I'm asking. I should have said words like that. No. I don't know whether it was lack of courage on my part or lack of knowledge. Maybe I didn't have the words back then. I'm sure I didn't. I think I've progressed as a human being to the point where I have words like that now, where I didn't have that sense of elocution then. But that's why I'm working on it, because I want to go even farther beyond whatever I have now. I'm not saying like that with an ego, like I have so much here. No, it's just I have a long way to go. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I think there's ideas and concepts that are in the world that I can explore that not only makes the world better for me, but makes me better for the world. And we're going to leave it at that, because I don't want to go there too much and I've talked too much, but good practice. A lot of concepts. All right. I hope nobody's watched this, but if somebody has, maybe you got value out of it. Later it shall be.